Steampunk on YouTube. I cover a lot of conventions. I like to cover conventions and kind of join in the fun by converting my gear, my photography and video gear for steampunk, aesthetics. And I like to cover conventions. I like to talk to makers. I like to talk to musicians. I have a lot of different things on my channel. And we got started in steampunk just because it's a very participatory thing. It's always more fun to do it than it is to just watch. So if you've got a hankering to put together some steampunk stuff, these are some great examples to talk to.
Hello, my name is Ashley Hackett. I've been, I've been making costumes for a long time, since about 1999. I'll make whatever passes through that I like. So if I see something on TV or in a movie or in a cartoon and I really, really love it, I'll figure out some way to make it. I mostly sew things, work with different mediums. I also like to make costumes for my little girl, who is here too. And, if you want to know any just weird stuff about how to fabricate, just let me know.
Hello, yes, I'm Rocky Sawyer. I like to tinker with metal. I'm not professionally trained at this. I am like most of you. I just started doing it in my house, and I have a small little area in my garage that I hammer all this stuff out in. We are more than happy to tell you how we do things, and so that way you can learn to do it too. Well, anyway, it's not about all your skill sets, because everybody has skills. It is about making, whether it's making music, whether you're making videos, whether you're sewing, whether you're tinkering with metal or leather. As long as you're creating and being imaginative, even if you're just assembling out an outfit from different pieces, that's what it's about. It's enjoying the imagination to it. Thank you.
My name's RJ Foster. I kind of already introduced myself, so I'm going to use my time here. These guys don't know it, but I have a few little important events that have happened as of late that I'm going to let loose here. So please cheer for them on these. We'd like to actually have a happy 10th anniversary to Thomas and his wife Jessica in the back. Actually, April 23rd was their 10th anniversary. Sitting here in the front row, if she'll stand up. Wish a happy 15th birthday to Kerrigan Peck. April 20th, we have a happy birthday for Stephen the Engineer Chapman. You guys didn't know I was doing research work, did you? Oh, laugh it up, you're next. Let's have a big, big hand for Rocky Sawyer and his new bride of March 23rd, Katie. The newlywed over here. Happy birthday to my assistant steampunk track director, Rebecca Grisbowski, May 11th. I gotta get personal on this one so she can hear it. To my beautiful wife, Rosanna, over in the Steps in Time design booth, we have our 11th anniversary on April the 3rd. So you can see we've had a lot of things going on, trying to get ready for this and get involved in the middle. And the other one I'd like to do is I'd like to say best of luck to the Steampunk Chronicle Reader's Choice Award nominees. Paige Gardner for Best Costume Original. She's the one walking around with Abby with the stained glass. That's up for an award tonight. She's also up for the Heart of Brass Award, which she deserves. To Thomas Galvin for the Time Machine. Oh, I'll be nice. And to me, I got Best Use of Leather this year. Yay! So I'm going to pass out to Thomas.
Thank you, RJ. My name is Thomas. I'm from the Central Florida area. My main prop, of course, is the Time Machine, but I'm not limited to just steampunk. I've been making props and costumes for at least 25 years. I do Ghostbusters. I make replicas from Warehouse 13. Lots of fun stuff. So I let television and movies inspire me. I'm going, because you just can't buy this stuff at KB Toys. Or if it is for sale, it's way too expensive. So I like to offer very inexpensive ways. I have a set of videos on YouTube on how to make your own Ghostbuster Proton Pack for under $100. So There you go. So I hold no secret. So ask me anything, and I'll be happy to tell you.
My name's Art Milligan. Used to work for Disney. I was an Imagineer, and we were taught to build whatever you could dream up out of anything that you could find. We do a lot of stuff, even still for the theme parks now, and my biggest thing is doing the large machines. I'm kind of a gearhead. I've always loved mechanical devices, from wooden toys to metal toys. And if you can ride it, I can build it. I love doing one-wheel motorcycles, and if you go on our website, you can see those as well. This new machine is a copy from a 1901 Knox 3-wheel bike, and I think you'll get a kick out of it.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Stephen Chapman, and I'm an engineer in my day life, but I've also got a YouTube channel where I go by the name Engineer, which comes from an old joke. Young guy goes off to school, and he comes back and says, 4 years ago, I couldn't even spell engineer. Now I are one. And so the YouTube channel has been very, very successful. We got a lot of views. I like making props, gadgets, and mostly weapons. I work in a variety of mediums, from your basic modified squirt gun to more of a brass and wood and metal type approach. Where possible, I like to incorporate a little bit of light and sound into my props. Irritating, huh? And so that's it for me. Please come back and see us in the Steampunk Gallery when you get the chance.
All right, I know there's people out there who has a question. Don't do this. Someone's got a question out there, please. About any type of fabrication, any type of, doesn't have to be steampunk. Most of these techniques that we use for this can actually be used for any type of costume build. It doesn't matter. Just because we do leather and we make it into this shape, that's what we did with it, but you can use it for anything. Like, if you're curious, Ashley, how many feathers are in that thing? She has over 10,000 plus feathers on that costume. Yeah, we can do a little bit of show and tell here. We've got the people to do it. Let's go ahead and start with Sean down there again. We'll just go that route. And when we get down to Art down here, he may grace us if we're nice. He may grace us with his new vehicle.
So, like I said, I wanted to blend in just a little bit. And I made this. This has been my most popular invention and the easiest to make. It was once a chandelier. And now it's my Steampunk Steadicam. It doesn't work as well as a traditional Steadicam, but it does offer me a number of handholds. Get it up the crowd. For a long time, it's I can't get up higher. It also works as a convenient way to set it down and store it because it is kind of heavy. And I made this. This is my GoPro Pauldron cam. And I can activate this with my phone and see what it sees. It's a little bit of touch and go. It likes to bend down a little. It's it's my beta. It's a work in progress. I originally started off, I've got a backpack back in our booth, and it's got rails, so I can disconnect it and swing the GoPro all the way around and do an interview and be my own second cameraman. So the idea was I'd use this camera to focus on the individual, and then the wide angle lens so I could have myself in the shot talking to them and interviewing, and do a 2-camera shot with just one person. So kind of my version of the Steampunk Reporter one-man band. That's my background.
Okay, I've had a few people ask me, some questions today, so I'll just try to remember those. Okay, that better? Okay, so I'll try to just remember the questions that people have been asking. I made the costume over the past few months. It probably only, I think it is just under $200 head to toe. So I had a budget and I really wanted to stick to it. So I just had to outsource some materials and find more economical ways to do things. The white part, the bodice corset, I actually ordered a corset off of eBay, like cheap, $10. I figured I can't make it that cheap and it's going to take me a while to make. So $10, white corset. I stitched it up the front instead of leaving it open so that I could just lace it down the back. And I just I made kind of an extender across the bottom and I laid several thousand feathers. I clipped the tips. If you ever want to put feathers on anything, if you have any kind of curve at all, cut them short. Cut them short, because the longer they are, they won't lay properly. So every feather through here had to be trimmed to a certain length. And then I started to do the top with Warbler. It was too bulky, so I just ended up tooling some craft foam and doing a little piece of Warbler here. So that's pretty much it for the bodice. So it took a while, but it wasn't expensive to make. Really wasn't that difficult. The cape is just some orange crepe. It's cheap fabric I got at Joann's with a coupon, of course. And this is where the work came in. I had to dye all the feathers. Feathers are really easy to dye. 3 or 4 different shades of orange, and I just sort of, just laid them different colors to kind of mash it up so you wouldn't just get one block of orange. Probably close to 10,000 on the cape, and then a few thousand more on the white. It's temporarily attached to the bodysuit. I made the bodysuit, again, cheap spandex. Oh, question, yes?
Step over here and he has a microphone.
Let's hope this time. Of course it doesn't work.
What kind of glue are you using?
Hot glue. You would think that's the worst way to do anything, would be to hot glue something on because it might fall off. But I tried sewing them down. I tried E6000. E6000 takes forever to set. I just put a little thin strip of glue down the spine of the feather and just laid them on a certain way. It took a while, but it was super easy. And I mean, if they come off, I've got several thousand more waiting to be put, because I'm pretty sure this is going to need maintenance. Let's see. I just trimmed out the top to kind of match this, and then the helmet. I'm not ashamed. Okay.
This is a costume.
The helmet is a baseball cap. Yeah, it's a white baseball cap, and I cut the bill off, and the feathers, the pieces are done individually with craft foam, and then I laid feathers on top of the craft foam. So it's just like giant craft foam feathers with feathers on top, and just different sizes, and then I glued them on individually around the top of the head. And then the mask is made of Warbler over foam, just one sheet. I didn't sandwich. And then the eyeballs is a ping pong ball cut in half and painted. But yeah, boots are ordered. I did the trim around the top, so time consuming, yes, but not terribly difficult. But yeah, are there any other questions about it? Okay, cool.
And by the way, yes, none of us practiced for this. We didn't have an idea what he was going to have us do. But that's all right. All right. First off, this was a concept. Just to tell you, there's nothing scarier than a flying Scotsman. So, with that concept in mind, I decided to start putting this together. The outfit itself, the clothing parts, are reproduction militaria stuff. I've been doing militaria recreation and reenacting since I was 16. But the metal parts and bits, like the arm is all cold hammered brass. It's sheet brass. It was brought actually from a salvage place as sheet brass. It was all cold hammered and formed. In the different construction parts of it, there are pieces that are soldered. There are parts that are JB welded. JB welded being a metal welded glue, basically. There are parts that are screwed in or set in. So, and also I have pop rivets. There are peened rivets. And there are snap rivets and also two-part hammered rivets incorporated into this entire design. So I actually, oh, and by the way, this was a creation process. I didn't have it all sketched out when I started, and that's a good part. But as you see, like just an example, the articulating part of the arm, that is actually a small old Coleman air pump. And then creating the gimbals on the side, and just getting parts and seeing how they will work and seeing how they will move, and then actually once you create it, putting together, wear it, make sure it is wearable, make sure you can move in it, or at least move as much as you want. Being a tinkerer in metal, I love tinkering in the metal. I love cutting it, even if it cuts me, but I pay the price. This is very heavy. Self-admittedly, if I made a good chunk of this and part of it out of different PVCs and plastics and such like that, which in future projects I may, so I can cut down weight, and it is heavy. Okay. All right. Chris has mentioned the different type of rivets. Two-part rivets, like tainted leather, usually used in leather. They can be used in some light metal applications. Peened rivets are actually the straight rivets that you actually use a ball peen, so they get the term ball peen hammer, to hammer them down. The pop rivets are the automotive style that have a tool. You put it in, it has a small nail that it pulls it out and expands the rivet. Those kind of rivets you cannot see the other side of them because it's ugly. So you're only looking at one side of them if you have that space. I'll go more into any pieces like that, or even light soldering. I'm not into large welding like some of our other wonderful counterparts. Also, we're all available at the booth for further questions or closer examinations for our pieces. That's welcome. I would appreciate that. And it's a utilitarian part, just trying to get something together that works. The springs they're from plate holders, little items that you hold, literally china plates on the wall. There's a combination of all kinds of different parts and pieces. And it's just putting together, looking at them, and assembling them. In a shop, I do encourage you to build your shop. You can start small. I have my first gun I made on my table over there. That gun was made, I had a Dremel tool, power drills, regular like Ryobi power drills, and I had an old table grinder that was my dad's. That's what I had to make the first gun. That's all I had. Now I have graduated to having a slightly larger shop with a drill press, and if you graduate to this point, a drill press, there's a lot of applications for that to use. It'll expand what you can do with metal. Also having a metal saw, which actually I am doing the cheaper version. I have a portaband style metal saw that's actually put upright on a vise. If anybody does shop work has an idea what that might be. But still, it's basic. It's not large factory pieces. All the welds, the bends and stuff like that are all hand bent, hand put. And I do mention over all of this, be careful for what you do. Use your safety techniques. Anytime I sacrificed to the Bloodmaker God this weekend before I started because I was in a rush. Do be careful with what you do. Don't let the metal bite you back, at least not very often.
As he said, the blood gods. When you make this stuff, you are using metal, you are using sharp tools. you are going to nick yourself, and actually a costume is really not complete until your DNA's on it. I guarantee you every one of us has bled on our projects. Am I wrong, guys? My costume, my main source that I use is leather. I try to make this costume to where it would look and represent to look like the skin of the Nautilus submarine itself, to where it actually looks like rusted out hull plates. But when you get up and look at it, it is actually hand-tooled leather. And I'll give you the little thing of where we get some ideas. The chest crest on this with the octopus, there's a house in France that has a really nice gate that goes into it, and over the top of his gate is that octopus. I found a picture of it, I transferred it over to the leather and did the tooling around there and actually created the chest crest for that. Another question that we get a lot is, where do you guys find the parts to build this stuff? That answer would be everywhere. Anywhere from antique stores to junkyards to trash cans to stuff people leave on the outside. Talk to all your neighbors that live around you and tell them what you're into, so that they can actually, when they're getting ready to clean their house out, they tell you, hey, you know, I'm looking for this kind of stuff. They'll call you and go, hey, I'm going to be getting rid of a bunch of stuff. Do you want to come over and look at it? Yes, I do. Chris? Yeah. Let me tell you a quick little story on this. If you go to a yard sale, you go to someone's house, and they're going to say, let's use an example of a cuckoo clock they're going to give you. Do not tell them you're going to go home and commit murder on their clock. This clock could have been handed down through their family, and you would feel really bad if you knew it came over in World War I by someone's grandfather who passed away, and you don't want to get into that because you don't want to set that kind of a feel off. Just say, I love it, it's great, thank you so much, take it home, shut all your blinds, and commit murder. Rip it apart and find every good little morsel in there. And whatever you use it. Whatever you don't use, put it in a box and save it, because you can use it down the line. Guaranteed it's going to pop up. I have boxes that I'll look through when I need a part. It's like, yes, 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 no, that's not going to work. Bingo, that's exactly what I want. But it's just stuff that I've kept around. This particular costume is Captain Nemo. I do have the dive helmet. It is over there on display for it. The whole costume itself, when I put it on, weighs approximately 70 pounds. It's all hand-tooled leather. I sweat like crazy. I sweat the 8th ocean of the sea by the end of the day. I always argue, there's 7. Trust me, there's 8. The back of this backpack was all hand-done. My father and I built the cabinet for it. I'm going to have Sean open the door here so you guys can actually look inside. Just two. A lot of times when we do costumes, you know, there may be a backpack done to a costume, and, you know, we'll make the pack look good and everything. I've just gotten to the habit that I really like to continue my cosplay and my designing work all the way through as it is. So it's actually a functioning pack that when I do have the helmet on, it does actually give me some air going into my dive helmet. Instead of being able to breathe, it's more of acting like a little bit of air conditioning so I don't die. Trust me, I was at Dragon Con in the competition and my fan died. It was not fun. But once again, we look around for parts anywhere that we can find them. There's actually a moving part in this one that looks like a little bellows. I was a attendant in a wedding, and that was my gift from the bride and groom. I saw that, and that was actually the first piece of the Nemo costume, and I built the entire costume around that one piece. Because I saw it, I was like, that looks like a working bellows pump. That could be an air pack. We're going Captain Nemo. Here it comes. Of which I've been a fan since I was 6 years old. So doing this costume, I'm 43 now. It took me this long to develop the skill sets to be able to pull this off. For you younger kids in the audience, the magic word is, and I guarantee everybody will agree, is Legos. Put the video games down. Get a bunch of Legos and build away. Anything in your imagination, build it. And when you get done, tear it down and build it even better, because that's going to give you the basis of the start of being able to build all this stuff. We just have different glues and techniques we have to do where you guys can just snap them together. Use the Legos to learn. I actually had a project I was working on and I could not figure out how to do this. I pulled out my old Legos and I built the thing out until I figured out how the mechanics worked. Then I went and did it with my good materials. It's actually a good tool to use if you need to. I'm going to go ahead and pass to Thomas here. question? Most of my supplies for leather. We're going to go ahead and give them a plug. Right down here in the 400 aisle on the left-hand side, you're going to see Tandy Leather. Kayla is the manager over there, and they are located over in Westtown, real close to Westtown Mall. Basically, you can get all your leathers there, all the snaps, connectors, rivets, everything you need, your tooling. On Saturday mornings, sometimes you have to call down to the store. They actually do beginning leatherworking and leather tooling classes. And it is actually a great place to learn. They're a great bunch of people, and they'll be more than happy to help you.
Well, I couldn't pull the time machine up on stage, so I would brought up my latest creation. Again, I mentioned earlier that I do Ghostbuster Proton Packs. Well, here's the first version of that. If you go back to 1880, I guess this is what Dr. Spangler, Venkman, and Stantz would have been using for catching phantoms or other paranormal items back in the turn of the century. There's a Steampunk Ghostbuster Proton Pack, of course, modeled after the original unlicensed nuclear accelerator from the 1984 film. This has been a dream for my wife. She has been wanting to do a Steampunk Ghostbuster for many years, and we finally decided to get cracking on it. A lot of it is, again, in the steampunk world, found or repurposed items. So I can see what I'm doing. A lot of the boxes are from Hobby Lobby. There they come, great tool. They got the tacks and everything, so that was an excellent find. The cyclotron motor is a ceiling fan. The bumper here is just made from PVC plastic, painted, coiled with a real copper coil. The rivets that are on here, if you get close enough and kind of tap it, you may hear a rattle. These are nothing more than painted googly eyes. It is the perfect shape for a rivet if you don't want to use a rivet, because you can get them in all different shapes and sizes. Buy yourself an assorted pack. It comes in like a pack of 500. Pull out the same ones, lay down a piece of masking tape, spray paint them brass. Instant rivets. Yeah, well, but on the sides, since it is all mounted on plywood, these are brass tacks, hammered in one at a time very carefully. The gauge is from an old thermometer, and again, what's great is these boxes do open up, and all the copper tubing is accurate, so it will work for lighting. We have lighting here on the side and also inside where we keep our phantoms nice and safe. Her blunderbuss gun is a giant candlestick mounted on with another box and a handmade gun stock. Nice LED light inside. And it hangs on with a drawer pull from your kitchen. So when you can't open up get your spatulas, you know what happened. Someone used your drawer pull for a hook. One of the boxes is actually working as the battery compartment, so I can get right to the batteries and change them very easily. And again, it's mounted on an Alice pack, which a lot of the Ghostbusters do use. This is military grade. Get these off of eBay for about $50, and we just restructured it with the modern straps, with the leather straps, so we could work like that. And a lot of the weight is rested on the kidney belt, because you need that kidney belt because this weighs about 35 pounds. And it's quite heavy. And which Jessica's learning. But again, the kidney belt helps release that stress. This has been unveiled for the first time here. This is the first time you guys have seen it. We were knocking ourselves out, and of course, one other little feature here. Got the working gears. So again, a work in progress. You'll find some things work, some things don't work, but you don't know what doesn't work until you try it. So those gears were handmade out of thick PVC plastic. I was in my bandsaw for about 2.5 hours carving those out. So that's it. There's your Ghostbuster unlicensed there's no water, electromagnetic accelerator. So thank you very much, and I think we're gonna move it over to Stephen.
Excellent. Okay, I tend to build a little bit smaller than some of the other props you see here. One thing I've got here is my steam saber. I first built this with EL wire. It was very unsatisfying. I would have to say, to turn out the lights, it's on. Really, it is. Really. But with the LEDs, I replaced them with LEDs, strip LEDs, And these are 12 volt LEDs. I'm only running them at 8 volts, but they're still plenty bright. And so I'm very happy with that. I mean, this is made with copper pipe. And okay, the base is a Moen sink drain. You probably recognize the plunger. You know, normally comes up here, and the handle, the little lever to turn it up and down goes in here. This copper fitting pressed right in, and then I was able to solder a copper pipe in which I drilled lots and lots of holes for the shaft. So, and it's got a couple of lithium-ion batteries down here in the bottom. I wanted to make some three-dimensional binoculars. So I started with PVC, and you may be able to see the red and blue lenses. And so that's how I get the 3D effect. But in order to keep the 3D effect calibrated, I installed a mechanical Doppler engine on top, and it's got a built-in scanner. You can see that moving. And the way I did that was just to take an old Korean clockwork and find a shaft that rotated about the right speed. And I took a small motor out of a VCR, and then I used an O-ring as like a belt drive. And I belt drove the clockwork to back drive it and rotate the shaft on the top. The rest of the binoculars are just PVC wrapped with leather from a shirt that I bought, a leather shirt that I bought in the thrift store. It's very easy to piece things together. One more thing I'd like to show you. The reason I brought this particular squirt gun up here is because I know a lot of people have tried to steampunk squirt guns that had these removable reservoirs, and it's found that the material, it's either a polyethylene or a high-density polyethylene, HDPE. This material cannot be painted. I don't care what you put on it. You can take your fingernail and just pull the paint right back off, which is very unfortunate because they're usually some fluorescent color. Let me show you what I did here. See, that's the original color of this reservoir. And what I did was wrap it with black electrical tape, which I could then color with rub and buff, which is a metallic wax. And the metallic wax would still come off. You could still rub it off. So I covered that with about 6 coats of Mod Podge, and it made a very durable material, and it looked like it's, there was a technique for making gun barrels called a Damascus technique, where they wound steel around a rod and then welded it. And so that's my backstory for this, is that it uses Damascus construction. I have lots more props back there on the table. I'd be happy to talk with anyone about any technique or tip that I can possibly offer, because if there's a mistake that can be made, I've probably made it and probably found a way around it. So thanks for your time.
Does anybody out there want to see a brand new vehicle? Surely you can do better than that. We're at a comic convention. Anybody want to see anything better? That's what we're talking about. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, trust me, there's more.
you want to see how it's done, that is how it's done right there.
Everything here is easily accessible to you. Basically, I was going to the dump, and someone had thrown out a scooter, one of those 24-volt electric scooters. So I already had the whole front end, which is the back of the scooter. If you just lay this piece down, that was the motor and the power for the scooter. I took all the electrical parts from the scooter, from the handbrakes to the control knobs, to all the electrical works. So all the lights work and everything else. The body is made out of just pine. All the metal framing is made out of electrical conduit. To bend the conduit, all I did was fill it with sand, pack it tight, put a piece of tape on it, and then I made wooden cutout circles and was able to bend the pipe just like a solid rod. And then you can weld it. You can shape it any form you want. I took the front end of the scooter and I just welded it right to the motor. So that gives me my steering, plus it becomes movable so you can get in and out. All the power sources for the unit is buried underneath the seat. So you can lift up here and have easy access to all the components, which is basically, if you look at it, it's all the guts from the electric bike. All the organ pipes is just PVC pipe. They're just different sizes with the fittings and painted. All the mechanical inside is just wooden carvings and pieces that you can Xerox off of the internet for a circus-looking thing. Eventually, when you open up this little suitcase, there'll be a flea circus in it. So this is basically just a showpiece. All the lights work, all the mechanics are handmade, and any one of you can do this. This gauge is nothing more than a can that a pocket watch came in and has a little plastic window on it. All I did was I, again, took a copy off the internet of a gauge, put some foam in there, stuck it in there, made a little hand, instant gauge. So I didn't have to go out and spend, $25, $50 to find an old steam gauge. I just make it. And that's basically what we do in Steampunk. If you see it and you can't afford it, find a way to make it. The headlight alone, they wanted $50, $100 for an antique Model A light. All I did is went down and bought a quart can from Home Depot and some old lamp parts, and instantly I have my headlamp. So anything on this bike, old bicycle wheels, anything on this, any one of you can have access to and to build it. This machine, as nice as it is, cost me less than $500 to build. So, and it's all electric, all powered, and it just pulls you along with no ease. It takes no real mechanical knowledge. You don't have to have blueprints. If you have an idea, you can build it. Just figure it out. If you can't figure it out, hey, there's YouTube. Ask any question on YouTube and it'll come up with some goof that's done something, and you can figure it out. Even if he's done it wrong, it'll give you more ideas and you know what to do with it. So if you're ever interested in doing anything like this or the one-wheel machines that I build, ask me anything. It's simple. You don't have to have a whole shop full of tools. None of us do, but you can build anything you want. You know somebody that knows how to weld. You know somebody that knows how to wire something and can help you out. Don't be afraid to do what we do. And I hope you enjoy the machine.